All right, in this video, we are going to focus on a post action. And a post action actually changes something in your database. It changes state. So in the 7 RESTful actions, there are 3 post actions. They are store, update, and destroy. And they do pretty much exactly what they sound like they do. And because they change the state, they actually don't need a template file. So let's look at this store, and we're going to use our same Flask application from the prior video. We've already created a recipes model, and we have the create route. So we're going to add a store route to that. And what we're going to notice is there's going to be a couple things we'll notice. We actually will not end up with a template because the purpose of store is to add content to your database after someone has filled that form out, say. And it's the store method is going to take that data, kind of validate it, check it, and see if everything looks right. And if it does, then it's going to store the data that the user put in your database. And then it's going to redirect the user to show them something, some kind of information that what they just put in actually happened. And so that's really the store method. And because of that functionality, it doesn't need a template. So we do not actually create a template file for that. So enough talking here. Let's go see some action. So I still have the Flask app up and running from the prior video. And here it is. Let's bump it up. And I'm in the create. I'm in the create route. And if I go, let's just show you. If I go to recipes, I end up with a 404. So just make note, we have a 404 here. And let's go to VS Code. I'll bump this up just a little bit, and then I'll bring it back down. But here in the recipes route, we have this controller, recipes/create. We also, so let's look at the controller for that. Keep that here. Here is the corresponding controller for that create, and it's using a render template. We're going to add the store method, and the store method for recipes is going to use the same controller. So it's going to tack on another method here, and then it's going to use the same route file. So you're going to see an update here in this file. And then, but in templates right now, we have the only template is create. So when we run this next command, we are not going to see a store.html pop in. We're just going to continue to see that create. So let's go here. I am going to, well, you can see everything here. So I'm going to run Flask make view recipes.store. And then I am going to wire this up. So I need a route and I need a controller. So that's going to put stuff over here. That's going to put stuff over here. And in my documentation, I put the model. And I'm going to go ahead and do that just so you can see what happens. If you're following along, I would probably recommend not doing that. But I just want to show those people who I want to show you that by putting in the -m, I did that. If you're only reading this one section, you're going to need that model. But for those people who actually have the model, putting in the -m is not going to hurt you. It will produce a warning on the screen saying, hey, I checked, you actually already have a recipe model, and I didn't recreate it because you may have changed things on disk, and I don't want to override what you did. So it'll just show a nice little warning. It's not an error, it's just a nice little warning nudge. So let's run this, see what happens. All right, so hopefully you're able to see that. There's that warning that I was mentioning. Recipe model already exists. You got some information about generated things because we didn't explicitly tell it, here's the route, here's the controller to use, and here's the model. So it had to go and generate those from the dotted path name that you gave it. And then it was successful in adding to the controller and adding to um, the routes folder. So one thing to note, you have a new route, recipes, and that's true. If you go here, you do have a new route, recipes, which looks like it might be conflicting with the index route if you watch prior videos because it uses the exact same route. That's just how RESTful actions, this is just the standard operating procedure for RESTful actions. The thing to notice, though, is the method is a post instead of a get. And over here, we actually brought in a new import, and we're no longer returning a string now. We're returning a response. So it looks a little different, and this says, instead of render template, it says redirect to recipes.index, which we actually don't have, but we can easily build that. And if we go over and look at what's on disk as far as files go, in the template, we do not have a store.html. It just stayed create. So let's go to the browser and see. Look at that. That changed from a 404 error to a 405 method not allowed. So, but if we go to the create, we still have that. So, yeah, this is the difference between a get and a post when you're in Flask Commands, and that will happen. The same behavior will happen on update and destroy. Whereas if you run an index or a show or a create or an edit, you're actually going to receive a file on disk. So just ending this video, I am going to go back to VS Code, bump this down, and then come back to my terminal and make that index page. So let's bring this up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do Flask make view recipes.index -rc because I just don't want the warning. If you want to put the m just because you get used to putting -rcm, by all means, please do. Okay, and so now I have recipes, but one's a post method and one's a get method. And over here for my index, I have the index rendering that template. And down here on disk, in the templates, I actually have an index.html file. And so now if I go back to the browser, bump it up, bring this over, I no longer get the 404 or 405 error or the 404 error, because 404 because we have the page, 405 because we're actually making a get request. Browsers, when we type something in and press enter or return, the browser is making a get request. The post request is going to come when we submit a form. And so I'll show you all this in future videos. So we'll recap get versus post, and then we'll kind of implement all this in the example app that we're working with.